everybody, and welcome to Positive Fandom. I am your host, Artem. I could listen a little closer. Guys, today I am here with Darth Plato. Darth Plato, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a good day for me. It's nice and warm here. More importantly, how are you?
I am doing great. It's a little cooler by the shore where I am. There's a huge heat wave, and it's 80 degrees here and breezy and sunny. So it feels like paradise. And I hope everybody else who is in these heat waves that seem to be going around the country are staying cool, everybody. Hope you're all staying hydrated. Um, Certainly hope that everybody is well out there. We do have with us today, of course, Tom Jr. Jackson, um, moderator and good friend Tom Jr. Jackson. Hope you're well. Says hi, everybody. Please click the like and subscribe buttons, everybody, if you haven't done so. So where Tom is, he says it's 80, feels like 90. Tom, you don't have the sea breeze. We have the sea breeze here, so it feels it's 80 degrees. It's not 90. We're lucky right now. If the wind stops, it's going to get unbearable. And hello to Brogu, who's here. Hi, Brogu. Hope you are well, Brogu. So, guys, today we are doing a Fat Man and Little Boy watch party. And we're kind of continuing this theme of, let's say historical films, of course. And in this particular case, the two bombs that were used during World War II. So, um, it's called Fat Man and Little Boy. It stars Paul Newman. I haven't watched this for probably about 20 years. When was the last time you saw this film, Darth Plato?
I saw this film, I think, in 2010, 2011, one or the other. So I was watching it I was anticipating a class discussion on this. I took a class at Berkeley one semester. I was U.S. history, 1941, 1975. I was anticipating this subject coming up. It did come up, but it wasn't really what I hoped it would be.
Okay. Well, you know something. It's been a while for me since I've seen it. As I've said, I don't remember all the details. I mean, I do know what it's about, so I'm excited. I feel like it's continuing a theme um, for us. Although, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch this. Our last review, everybody, if you remember, was Oppenheimer, which was amazing. Darth Plato. That was a very long review, and I think we could have spoken for a few more hours on it if we wanted to. But we did.
It'll be interesting to compare this movie to Oppenheimer. That's why I selected this movie, and not just for the movie's sake, but also the explanation for the sciences, which I think is more your department.
All right. Well, then that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see this film, everybody. We are watching Fat Man and Little Boy, starring Paul Newman. I'm just going to switch back to, I can't remember which one we are. I think it's this one we were on. No, it's not. It's another one. It's this one. Yeah. We are watching Fat Man and Little Boy, starring Paul Newman. Um, I'm kind of covering some of the cast members, but it also does star John Cusack. You can see the counter at the bottom. We're going to be starting at 1 minute and 23 seconds, everybody, of this film, and I'm going to give you the signal of when to go ahead and start it, guys. Please queue up your movies. You can get it up to 1 minute and 23 seconds. I think it's after the credits. You'll see Paul Newman's name and the name of the film, as well as I'm assuming other many of the other stars. So, um, uh, I own a copy. Do you
I'm on
own this,
Amazon.
Plato? Or
I'm on Amazon.
oh, is it on Amazon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'll put that in the description for now. That it is in Amazon. Let me go to the banner. I'm hearing somebody outside using a backup thing. Uh, Let me just put this here. Okay, on Amazon. I'm not watching it on Amazon, but it is available on Amazon. So I'm just saving it there, guys, so you know.
Okay. Well, in terms of what's on the screen, there's a caption on the screen about Pentagon 1942 Second World War has waged for 3 years. So when you see those words on the screen, you know we're at the right place.
That's good to know. That's very good to know, everybody. Um, all right, so it is available on Amazon, everybody. Thank you guys for all being here. Oh, thanks, Tom. Tom says it's also available on Tubi. Okay. And okay, so with that, I'm queued at 1 minute 23 seconds. Um, and it's also right after you see these two, they show you the poems like they're kind of at a okay, so there it has a statement at 123. It says Pentagon 1940. This is what you were talking about, right? Darth Plato, the Second World War has raged on for 3 years. The Nazis, victorious in Europe, have declared war on America. It is 9 months since Pearl Harbor.
Right.
Okay. So that's where we're starting, at least in this story. We're starting. And Tom, I sure hope you have aircon. Okay. I sure hope you have aircon. I forgot to mention that. And I hope everybody is staying cool. Or if you're not, if you don't have air conditioning, go to one of those cooling centers so you can stay safe because the temperatures are just unbearable in so many parts of the country right now. Go to a cooling center, go to the mall. Well, maybe people don't go to the mall anymore.
You know, it's funny. It's actually 80 degrees where I am, but there's a real breeze outside.
Yeah, where I
So
live, we
I,
have a breeze all the time, so I'm accustomed to it being breezy. But I think that's why I have to have the fan because the fan, if I close the door in here and it's closed and I don't have that sea breeze, I'm accustomed to the sea breeze. But are you close to the ocean, Darth Plato?
yeah, I'm right on the bay.
Okay. Well, I'm right near. Yeah, I guess I'm near the Atlantic Ocean. Um, so it's we have maybe a similar situation here, except the waters near me. I don't know. They're cold. It's cold. It's still cold, believe it or not. At this time of year, it's the water's still cold. So if you go in, it's cold. But people wouldn't care on a day when it's 90 like this, I guess. But okay, so let's get
Well,
this.
you're also further north than I am.
Yes, I am. I'm like at 42. Is it like 42? What do you? What is it? What's your latitude? I guess.
I don't know what it is, but I do know that I am further south than New York. I think in terms of longitude, I think we're about right about where Virginia is.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I
Of
hear you.
course, it gets cold in Virginia too.
It does, but it they do have milder seasons, and it's pretty, and you know they have, they have very warm summers there as well. But okay, um, let's get this started. All right,
All right.
guys. So let's go ahead and push the button now.
All right, the Pentagon.
It's a Pentagon cake. I love it.
That's a big cake.
Yeah.
So General Leslie Groves.
So he builds the Pentagon, then he supervises the Manhattan Project. He's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, that hell of a cake.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it looks like it, like it's.
Just like angel food.
Hmm. I like the structure of the top of it. You know, when they film over in the top of it, looks like that too. They had engineers on the front.
Yes, but they're not holding they're not guarding a post though.
I guess they wanted him there. That's what this really is about. And I get
Yeah.
it. I get why they wanted him here. Oh
Yeah.
no. I liked that cake. These guys in their bathtubs, I love it.
Yeah, Leo Szilard. Yeah, he was the guy that wrote the letter about the discovery of nuclear fission to the United States, warning them about its potential.
Hmm.
And that was the letter that gave rise to the Manhattan Project. He uh, he wrote the letter that Einstein signed. Einstein signed it.
I can't fault anybody for wanting to stay clean. I can't. Winston Churchill was known for this too, right, Darth Plato?
Yes, and I admit, so I am a little bit too.
Ah, very well.
Yeah, nice old car.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I love old cars like that.
Thank you, Linwood Kent. We are, I know, I think I'm at 42 latitude, around there.
Wait a second. Is that Mr. Broccoli?
I don't know. Yeah, but why are they not letting us hear the conversation? So they think the military should be in charge of the entire operation and run it too. Then.
Oh yes, absolutely. The army, more specifically.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so sweet.
Interesting. Yeah, General Groves plays a much more significant role in this movie than he did in Oppenheimer movie.
So are we going to see this from the point of view of the Army Corps of Engineers versus seeing it from the point of view of Oppenheimer?
I think they go back and forth. It definitely is a shared perspective, but Groves does seem to be the predominant one. Yes, and I say that only because he's the top of the billing. The gadget.
The gadget makes it sound trivial, but the device, I don't know. It's fun.
I think they did that in Stargate too.
Mhm.
So it is next to Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Turn off the water at 2. That's funny.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by
I hope he meant 2 a.m.
that. That's a refrigerator.
Yeah, an old fashioned one. That is hilarious.
They could have had a few of the army guys come and help them with that.
Yeah, just you see the humor of that scene is these are the greatest geniuses in the entire world assembled in one place that they can't get a fridge up the stairs.
Well, it looked kind of heavy, and you should know your limitations.
Yeah, genius at work. You're talking about implosion.
Yes, he is.
I think that was the guy who invented that. I think was Niedermeyer.
They talked about it in Oppenheimer as well, but the Manhattan TV series, it's talked about a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure they have more time to talk about it. They really fleshed out there.
They did. It's 23 minutes into the film, and we already know exactly what they're going to do. So this is very interesting. Hello, Delta Ray Studios is here, and I want to say hello to also to Linwood Kent. Hi, Linwood. Hi. Hope you are well. And also Delta Ray Studios. Hi. Hope you are well, Delta Ray. We are watching Fat Man and Little Boy. Tom's comments. I can't see it. And hello, Anonymous. Anonymous is watching Dune, saying hi and bye. Well, you enjoy Dune, Anonymous. Sure hope you are well. you know they Darth Leto, one thing I liked that they did in Oppenheimer that we're seeing here are the scientists just like all pissed off at everything and ready to just walk the hell out of there. I
Yeah,
just love it.
yeah,
I really love it.
yeah they're really getting into the different scientists, different scientists here.
I was going to say that's academia for you, but um,
It might have been in those days.
yeah, because they're like, we can't work under these conditions. This is not cool. I love it. I really do love it.
Look at the set.
Yeah.
It's like an old fashioned '80s set. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a little chimp. Look at these guys. Look at these geniuses.
That is funny.
I don't know. He's talking to his communist friend.
It's not a code.
A Navy guy. Yeah, I think that might be William Parsons,
Hmm.
the Navy guy. He was on the Enola Gay crew. He was at the Manhattan Project. He was one of the military specialists.
Oh, oh.
It's like MASH. Yeah, good old fashioned music. Atomic Bartoda's in the house.
Thomas, hope all is well with you.
It's actually a fair point about the blackmail. It's like John Cusack feels glad at home on the baseball diamond.
Yeah, very true.
That's funny.
I don't remember them addressing this in this film, but I understand why they had to, um, with his relationship with that woman. But everybody else has cut off everybody else, but he's the only one who hasn't done that. Somewhat everybody else is supposed to be compartmentalized, but he's not doing that. So, or at least he's trying to do it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just, you know, there's definitely something here to deal with.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly look good. It
And
may not be obvious. It may not be obvious now, but back in the 30s and 40s, there was a lot of sympathy for communists because of what they had to deal with in Nazi Germany.
And
So
Thomas
go ahead.
and Thomas Bartoldi says, "How's this film different from Oppenheimer?" And you and I briefly talked about how what point of view this film might be told from, and I was going to say maybe this one is told more from the Army Corps of Engineers point of view, but you also mentioned it also is told from Oppenheimer's point of view. I don't remember if Strauss is ever even mentioned in this film. I don't believe he is. But so those are some, not all, but some of the differences so far, right, Darth Plato?
Well, this movie pretty much covers the events of Oppenheimer at the Manhattan Project in New Mexico. It doesn't really deal with before and after. So the movie ends. They're still there. In Oppenheimer movie, the movie it went on for like another hour.
This is a much shorter film.
Yeah, comparatively speaking, yes.
And it also, like you said, doesn't deal with anything before either. So it's just a project, I guess.
Oh yeah, this movie's an hour and 22 minutes. Hour 20, yeah, hour 22.
Yeah, this is like almost 70% shorter.
So I hope that answers your question, Thomas, who says hi.
Well, I got that part the same.
Intimacy is needed, people. So I guess this is where he breaks it off, huh?
Yes. He's gonna have to. Um,
I thought Manhattan was a series, not a movie. It never might have been a movie.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you already answered this, Darth Plato. Um, I don't know about a film, but there was a TV series called Manhattan. I've been watching it.
Yeah, I haven't seen the series myself.
Yeah,
I imagine this is territory that's been plowed over many times. So there might be a Manhattan Project movie.
Yeah. And hello, Mikey Lito. Mikey Lito says there was a film called The Manhattan Project with John Lithgow that had nothing to do with the story being told here. And thanks so much for that information, Mikey Lito, for letting us know. And welcome.
How you doing, Mikey? Yeah, Paris was liberated in November '44, so they're getting close to Operation Market Garden. Yeah, that's Fred Thompson.
I always liked him.
Yeah, it's Fred Thompson. That's funny.
Hmm.
Russian don't take a dump without a plan, son. Yeah, well, he's getting his authorization from somebody that has five. That's no joke.
Yeah, she was great, Tom. Yeah, this is true, Mikey Lito. I used to forget that he was a real politician.
Hey, actor, politician, they're all characters.
Well said.
Yeah, I'm convinced that you are watching the movie at an increased speed.
Um, who is watching the movie at increased speed?
Like whenever I catch up to your yeah, I think yeah, your movie I think runs at about a half a second faster than mine.
Oh, a half a second. Oh, okay. You mean a little bit farther ahead? I don't know whether it's a faster speed, but yeah, I apologize if
No,
it's if.
it's just the running it's the running time is faster.
Mhm. The only way to make sure that we're absolutely on the same time is if we were doing a watch party where we were synced on the same watch party, but we're watching two separate, units. So
Yeah, that's why I said I was on Amazon. It can't be helped now.
no.
It's progressing very quickly.
Yes.
And now we're almost at VE Day. April 45, yeah, FDR died that month on April 12th. So Truman's about to become president.
I do like these scenes where they're showing the construction.
I don't understand it, but it sure is interesting.
And Michaelito says, those of us on Pluto TV have to deal with occasional commercials. Yeah. Um, and Tom is also watching it on there. And Thomas mentions the romantic comedy IQ with Albert Einstein with a niece. Yeah, yeah. I think Meg Ryan's in that, right? I think Meg Ryan might be. I could be wrong. Yeah, Thomas is, yes, she's in it. Yeah, that must have been difficult because they seemed this is featured in this film, and it's featured in the last film that we watched, Darth Plato on Oppenheimer. So this must have affected him greatly.
It does, but I kind of think they portray it better here because in the Oppenheimer movie they portrayed it in a way that it almost kind of vague about what really happened. At least
You
that's the
mean
impressions I
you
got.
mean with you mean their
Gene,
relationship or how she like what
about
specific
about how she died. Yeah,
in Oppenheimer?
yeah. It
I
just
mean,
seemed kind of
it looked like she committed suicide in Oppenheimer. I mean, I don't know. Did it look like that to you, or did it look like something else?
it was a little vague about what actually happened.
So you don't think that she drowned herself as depicted in the film?
No, I accept the fact that she committed suicide. I just thought that the way it was depicted in Oppenheimer sort of left it open for wait, what really happened there? It was just the feeling I got when I watched it.
Okay, fair enough. And Mikey Lito says he agrees with you, Darth Plato.
Appreciate that, Mikey. Yeah, there was a lot of interesting people on this project. There's Enrico Fermi was there, Edward Teller was there. There were some real brains there.
Yeah, it was very impressive group. Certainly something that I think is just unbelievable in the level of genius that was there at the time.
No, they weren't. The Germans weren't even close to building a bomb.
Clearly, that's the plutonium coming in, right? Or whatever radioactive isotope it is.
Either way, it's scary. Tickling the dragon's tail, yeah.
This is. Hmm.
That is wonderful.
Oh, the war in Europe is over.
And we're about halfway through this film. Um,
There's an R&B move. What a bizarre scene. Jeez.
Miguelito, you're making me laugh.
Yeah, that's where we are too.
Yeah, Mikey Lito, are you at where the counter is? Because that's where I believe we're both at. Darth Plato and I are at. Does it coincide with the numbers down there?
It does for me now. You're
I
looking
admit
at
that
the two bombs right now.
yes. I admit that some of the scenes of seeing the bombs hang like that, it is disturbing.
Well, they're not armed.
I know, but it's
Uh,
still.
so, so the
And
thin one is what they use. Yeah, the thin one is what they used at Hiroshima. The big one is what they used at Nagasaki.
I think the reason why I feel this way is because since I've seen this film before, um, there is something that comes up in this film that is alarming. Oh, I didn't know you couldn't skip them, Mikey Lato.
Yeah. He looks so dangerous. Fish. I think Fish was the guy that invented nuclear fission. He's working on this project too. Gee, they got everybody on this project.
Hmm.
Yeah, this guy's character, Michael Merriman. There wasn't any such person as Michael Merriman. This is actually what they call a composite character. They're taking different characters and combining them into one. In this case, Michael Merriman. He's actually I wrote it down. He's actually based on a. His real name is actually Louis Slot. That'll become significant in a while.
Yeah, it really does. In fact, what happens, that's the thing that I remember most from this movie is his role in it. If I remember it correctly.
There's pretty close. July 45, so we should be getting close to the Potsdam conference.
Hmm.
People did speak out.
We will see you later, Thomas. I agree with you on this one, Mikey Lito. Certainly, they did play those roles very, very well.
They weren't negotiating surrender; they were negotiating an end to the war that was favorable to them. They're being
Nanking, along with that.
I'm not sure what they're talking about there. The idea of the bomb existing did not create the idea in anybody's mind that there wasn't going to be an invasion of Japan. There was a hope that it could be averted somehow, but no one knew how to do that. There was a lot of different ideas, nobody agreed, and so the invasion went forward with the idea of using the bomb for tactical reasons. As it turns out, there was a surrender. So this idea that people ahead of time knew that the bomb was going to end the war, that they shouldn't have put that into the movie. Yeah, there was prior warning. Yeah, this is what I was talking about before about talking about how to use it, about maybe making a demonstration. This is part of that, what they're showing here. And since no one could really, since there was no consensus about how to best do that, they decided to just go ahead and use it tactically. That is, to further the aim of the invasion.
Yeah, Tom, they said that there was going to be a possibility of thunderstorms and storms coming through. So I wouldn't be surprised by that. Where I am, it's sunny and the skies are clear. So I don't know. But I've been hearing noises. So it must be the same thunder. Um, and I hope you're safe. Absolutely, Mikey Lito. It certainly is something else. Look at it. She's kind of eyeballing him even in this.
Indeed.
Did R&B write this?
All right. This is the part, I think, right? Right, Darth Plato? This is the part that I can never forget.
Yeah, this is it. So this experiment that we're seeing actually takes place after the Manhattan Project.
Mm-hmm. And after Japan surrenders.
But for some reason, they're depicting it as part of the Manhattan Project. I think what they wanted to do was to illustrate exposure to
Yes,
the
and
audience.
we're giving them artistic license for that. It's okay. Sometimes we are going to see things that are out of order. Certainly, we did see that in Oppenheimer as well. They're using a screwdriver for a job that's not. Screwdriver was not intended. Everybody. God.
Well, I certainly wouldn't know the proper way to do this. I sure wouldn't want to have anything to do with it.
It looks good though, right? Like from the screen, as you're watching this looks scary. It feels very scary. And from the observer, I don't think the average person watching this is even aware of what's going on.
No.
Oh, 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 oh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It just. I'm so sorry. This was the scariest part of the film for me. That just, what was it? 2 minutes, Darth Plato?
Yeah, it wasn't very long. It just takes a moment.
This was the scariest part of this film for me because I'd known about this incident before, but this really was, I think that, oh God. Okay.
Yeah, everybody in that room did have a shortened lifespan.
I think for what happened, what we witnessed, which would have been a nuclear catastrophe that he avoided by putting his hand on something he shouldn't have. I think they depicted this so well. They looked like things were fine, but I like how they show the screwdriver, Darth Plato. It really did kind of illustrate that it was
Yeah.
really just and it's interesting too because just a few moments before that, Mike Alito was talking about the scene where the girl is saying, touch me, touch me. That was obviously placed there intentionally. At least I think so.
Yeah, I was waiting to see a moment like this in the Oppenheimer movie. We didn't see it.
My heart is still racing from this thing. I do like how you could see the blue light. You know, we got some real close-ups of it. You could see it from the scientist's point of view. I think they did a good job in that scene.
Well, something like that did happen. The guy's real name was Louis Slotin, and he didn't live very long after that.
Yeah, it is based on a real life event.
Yep.
And it's the Demon Core. So it's one of the most famous accidents of that era because he takes his bare hand to avert even more of a disaster. I don't think anybody, I don't know whether anybody in history has ever done anything like that before, but it certainly is something when you read about it, it just sounds so extraordinary.
Yeah, it reminds me of the first episode of Chernobyl, where they show the firemen showing up at the nuclear plant and they're picking up the debris with their bare hands. Man, there's debris from the core.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison. And the Outcast Creative is here. Hey, Lance says, I actually like this film better than Oppenheimer. Interesting. Yeah, Lance. Yeah, John Cusack's character, Merriman. It really is unfortunate that that this happened to him. But I think in the film, for a film point of view, it seemed like everything was in order, and then this incident happens here. As you've mentioned already, Darth Plato, this happens after the Trinity test. However, it certainly does have a very chilling and suspenseful effect over the film, at least the way the film runs.
Yeah.
And I knew it was coming up because that part always scared me in this film. That was more scary to me than the Trinity test depiction in the film, which I'm not quite sure if that's I'm not quite sure whether that's what they intended for this film, but that last scene scared me the most out of this film. And it just, yeah, it was scary. The scariest part for me. I don't know.
How you doing, Lance?
And guys, we have about 20 minutes left of the film. He also plays a doctor in Scrubs. Yes, Tom, you and I are on the same page here. He also plays a doctor in Scrubs, remember?
Yeah, he's all messed up.
And this one really shows you the Scotch tape point, right, Darth Plato?
Hmm?
The Scotch tape point that they made about how much Scotch tape was used.
Oh,
You can really see it visually here.
that's kind of scary thinking about it, actually. And of course, that has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're portraying Oppenheimer pretty differently here than they did in the movie.
They certainly are. Oh gosh. Um, It's impossible not to cringe from this in this film. Like it is so. So this is what I remember the most from this film.
Yeah, I can
That's
understand that. He's really messed up.
yeah. I'm still freaked out by it. It's nice. You can see its reflection in the glass, or at least I think that's what you're saying. Whew.
If So I guess if this were a Nolan movie, this would probably be about where the oncoming rush of noise starts to gradually build.
Oh.
Yeah. Look at his forearms. I think that's being contrived for the movie, though. I don't think there was anything like that really going on. Still effective for the movie, though. Enrico Fermi.
They were being sarcastic, of course, but
That's true.
yeah, it's got a very, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, about the tone of this film, versus yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Um, the tone is very different.
Yeah, it looks like MASH. Yeah, it has a MASH feel. It almost has an A-Team feel to it. It looks like a set. It looks like an 80s sitcom setting. Well, maybe not a sitcom.
Boom.
Not bad. I think I prefer the Oppenheimer explosion. And just a reminder, Stalin heard about the success of the Trinity test before the White House did. Depends on the situation. Sometimes one leads to the other. Interesting shot of the Earth there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there were definitely people there. They were sympathetic to Stalin.
So let's talk about the way this film looked, Darth Plato. Um, I would say it definitely looked accurate to the time period, and so did the costumes. Certainly, the location looked accurate. It looked like they were in New Mexico. I I think that a lot of it didn't necessarily flow as smoothly as it could have. However, I think they did get their point across a lot. And the first time that I watched this film, the same thing happened to me this time that I watched the film, and that is that the incident with the Demon Core just took all my attention away from the rest of the film. However, it certainly doesn't remove the accomplishments of this film or anything like that. But the Demon Core incident, because of what I know about it, it just still scared me as much as it did when I saw it, I don't know, 25 years ago, maybe more. Um, so I think that if effective wise, that Demon Core thrilling point, that point really still freaks me out to this day. And I think, John Cusack did a great job in this role as that character, as Merriman, I think is his name. But um, that always completely pulled me away from this entire film. All I can think about, in fact, right now, all I can think about is that core, Darth Plato.
Yeah, I admit it's what I most remember as well.
And it actually then and now made me sick to my stomach when I watch it. But it doesn't mean that it's done badly. It just disturbs me so much that it makes me feel uneasy that much.
I think that's
So,
intentional.
yeah. And I also think that it's literally like a 2-minute scene, right, Darth Plato? It's not long. And we get to see at first a normal burst with the blue light, so to speak, under more controlled situation. And then we see one where it's uncontrollable, and that you get to see that screwdriver kind of wedged in there. It really is very effective. It does look like it's kind of jerry-rigged, if you want to call it that. I'm not even quite sure how anyone would describe it, but I don't know whether from an ordinary person would look at that and say there's anything wrong. I don't know if anybody would know that. For you and I, since we know the details about what went wrong, I think upon reading about it, or if you heard about it, then something went wrong. But I'm not quite sure whether the observer can necessarily tell that it was risky to use a screwdriver for that purpose. However, they can tell something is wrong when when the two pieces come together and then the light goes and he has to stop it, or else it's going to be a disaster. So, yeah, that's all I can it really does pull me away from every other thing that happened in this film. I don't think I've ever seen seen Darth Plato that has had that kind of effect over me. So I have to also say that it's messed me up so much. I'm okay. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's such an effective scene that it still freaks me out. Oh my gosh, it's so freaky. It really disturbs me. I think it's the most powerful thing in the film. What do you think, Darth Plato, about this film?
Well, I don't disagree. That's the most powerful thing. That's easily what I remember most about the film. As far as the overall film, well, notice the difference in focus. This movie is called Fat Man, Little Boy. It's named after, well, it's not named after, but it's based on the Manhattan Project itself. It's not a movie about Groves or even Oppenheimer, which is what we saw last week, the movie about Oppenheimer. The Nolan movie, it was a movie about Oppenheimer himself rather than the Manhattan Project, because it shows his years before that, during the project, and after the project, and it's not linear. It's a very non-linear movie, but a big theme of the movie is the part about his security clearance being revoked, and the role of Strauss and all of that. In this movie, all of that is gone. There is nothing whatsoever to deal with the revoking of a security clearance, as I said in the caption there, which was 1954, so 9 years after this. So that's completely out. So what we're watching really is the movie about the event itself dwindled down to really three people. There's really three characters in this film. There's General Groves, the project leader, or whatever you want to call him, the director, Oppenheimer, of course, And the third character who we saw was the composite character of Michael Merriman, aka Louis Slotin, who unfortunately suffered this catastrophe. And even though although that catastrophe did happen, it didn't happen in 1945. So that's my biggest takeaway for the difference between this and Oppenheimer. Do I like the movie? Yes, I like the movie a lot. I'm a bit of an 80s nostalgia guy, so I like the feel of the whole thing. So aside from that, there's parts about this movie that I like more than Oppenheimer. Given a choice between these two movies, I'd probably choose this movie. But then again, if you're talking about the craft of movie making, I can't compare this to Oppenheimer because, my gosh, I'm not a film critic. I can't really describe it. Just like the sound, for instance, the way that the Nolan presages the moment with the onrush of sound is obviously much superior in Oppenheimer than this. This is much more simple. This is like simple movie making compared. This is almost like TV movie making compared to what we saw in Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is that's like a maestro at work. I acknowledge that, but for the subject matter, I like this movie overall better for the subject matter. Off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is different. It is different, and maybe that's a good thing. That it is different from the other film. It's not. It's not. It doesn't really have any similarities for me. I think that each film is trying to accomplish something different, and they do. I also think that this film didn't explain to, let's say, the average viewer necessarily what was going on in the same level of detail that Oppenheimer did, although Oppenheimer was a much longer film and it was made for a specific reason. It was based on a biography, which is very different. I have no idea about the screenplay and how it was conceived or what it may or may not be based on, which is fine. I also felt that this film felt a little less smooth. I mean, Oppenheimer jumped around quite a bit, but this one they needed to tell you it in 2 hours, and that was it. And if they didn't fit it in there, it wasn't going to make the film. So they did cover a lot of material and a lot of different points. So it certainly wasn't a bad film at all.
Well, material about what? About Oppenheimer himself or the Manhattan Project itself?
About everything, honestly. It had a lot in there. So it went to a lot of different subjects and a lot of different points. However, you have to keep your eyes open or else you'll miss something in this one. Like I said before, I think that they wanted that scene with the demon core to be the one that was going to freak people out. I mean, it freaked me out, and I knew about the incident before I saw the film, so it was even more freaky seeing the screwdriver sticking out of this thing was like just something that you knew they did, but to actually see it portrayed in a film, and they didn't prolong it, like it was, maybe it was a super quick incident. I have no idea, but the fact that he grabs it with his hand, it's very, very dramatic. You said it reminded you of Chernobyl. Certainly that makes sense. But I was going to say, I think it's a good film, but I've avoided seeing the film again because of that scene with the core.
Yeah, I do agree. However, Chernobyl had a bigger impact on me than this movie did. That was really awesome. That was really something to see. Chernobyl. What happened to those people?
It certainly was, and I want to catch up on everybody's comments.
Okay.
I'm just that scene. Oh my god! Whoever thought of that scene and did it that way, and I got to give John Cusack some credit as well for doing that scene, as short as it was. It's and as I also said, something that I don't know whether it was considered an odd placement at the moment. As Mike Alito pointed out, the touch me comment is right before the demon core incident. So I thought to myself, yeah, I don't know. Did they think about this?
No, I don't think so.
I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Now, oh yes, and Lance is here. He said he liked this film better than Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Um, and it was Clark Craig, as I said, the guy from Scrubs. He plays a doctor in Scrubs, and that immediately started everybody talking about like it had this MASH feel. It had kind of a different feel. All of a sudden, we go from talking about trying to avert further deaths and the inhumanity of things, which I'm not debating. We're not debating that. I'm just saying it's what they say in the film. To like a very odd feeling, Darth Plato. It's very odd how the tone of the film kind of switched, and then you still have this feeling like something's wrong. And of course, it's John Cusack's character who's dying, and they show you know him in the hallway and the nurse who's running and this sort of thing, and it felt very jarring in a sense. So I have to give them credit for making something that was that jarring. Lance is letting us know that he's going to have John Hannah on his Spartacus stream. So, guys, make sure you check out Lance's stream for that.
Well, it's also misleading, the scene, because that scene did not happen the way they depicted it in the film. So it does not weigh on Oppenheimer's conscience the way that they're suggesting that it did. You know, but remember, the other gentleman was having that conversation with him, like, don't try to play God. You're not in the positions taken. Well, that conversation never took place, at least not in that context. So it's a bit misleading. But then again, they are making a movie. It's not a historical biopic. I understand that. It's a very effective scene. I agree. I remember it very vividly, and I saw this movie years ago. But let's not lose track of the fact that it didn't happen the way that they depicted it, at least not temporally.
And I don't know whether I do think I understand what the film is trying to do, but it jumps around a lot for me. And if I didn't know what was going on previous to that, I don't know whether the average person who's watching that, who maybe doesn't know, because not everybody knows all the events that have happened there.
Well, I certainly don't.
I'm sorry?
I certainly don't.
Yeah. So, I think that they couldn't necessarily put it in any other way than the way we saw it. It had a lot too, Darth Plato. There was a lot in this film.
Yeah.
And I think for what they were trying to accomplish, they did a good job. There were even some points where, although it stars Paul Newman, I don't know whether he felt like the star of this film. What do you think, Darth Plato?
Well, he has top billing. I'm not sure I call him the star. He was certainly one of the main characters. As I said, there were three main characters in the movie. There was Paul Newman's character of General Groves and what's his name? The guy, Mr. Broccoli, Oppenheimer, and of course Cusack, Mr. Merriman, or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And so Oppenheimer is certainly the most important person in the story, because there is no project without him. But at the same time, we shouldn't underestimate the role that Groves had in that thing, because he was a very organized guy, and he's successful in putting just taking resources and harnessing them into a successful project like the Pentagon. This is a very different kind of project. You're not building a building, you're building a bomb. That's not quite building the same thing. It is still a military project, though. So it's an important role that they really sort of. It was interesting to see how it was depicted in Oppenheimer, but it's much more prevalent in this film. Oppenheimer obviously is much more prevalent in Oppenheimer. The movie is named after him, and Merriman's character was almost like an aside. It seems like the wife actually had more to do in this film than Oppenheimer.
Yeah. And they made a point about the roles of let's say because it's a 3-hour film, and perhaps the ladies' roles were not as long as they could have been. But I think you make a really good point about, talking about his role in building the Pentagon, because that's where it starts off. And I talk about the cake and how cool this cake looks. And he's like, screw the cake. It's like, it's not important to him because, there are other pressing matters. Certainly it does celebrate his accomplishments as well. And also, was it in this film, Darth Plato, where they said that he said something? I think it was him who said People should know what engineers do. Non-engineers shouldn't know what non-engineers are doing, and physicists shouldn't. Non-physicists shouldn't know what physicists are doing. And I thought that was very interesting because maybe he felt that your greatest effort and your best ability was supposed to be concentrated on at this point. If it were, a detente or after the war, then you could go ahead and decide to go to other areas. But he felt that there needed to be that discipline, and it was military. I'd say militaristic, which is fine. I have no problem with it. But I mean, maybe it needed to be focused on that way, at least from the way the movie is implying, depicted it.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, that's good. I like how they interacted to try to adjust to one another to make it work. I thought that was an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it really was, and I think we could see that in this film. Mm-hmm. And also, everybody who seems to portray Oppenheimer has a different way of portraying him. But I thought that this portrayal was pretty good. He's very interesting. He's kind of charismatic, and he looks very unassuming. But obviously, he's a genius, right? This guy's one of the most incredible geniuses ever. But he's almost unassuming in the way that he portrays himself. But it was also good to see that they chose to show again that while it is tied to communism, I get that, they chose to show that he did need to be with somebody and he needed to have intimate contact. And that's a theme that I don't think is ever going to go away. And yes, it is true that the lady is tied to the party, but they don't have to show that they're sleeping together. But we continually seem to see this over and over again, Darth Plato. Why do you think that is?
Well, the simplest answer is good. It's good movie making. That's the simplest answer, and the other would be that it's true that there's a grain of truth in it. And there's always a saying that truth is stranger than fiction. So it's almost like material that writes itself from this point. So yeah, I'd probably do the same thing.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so I just wanted to mention again because Lance was here. He's going to have John Hannah in a Spartacus stream, everybody. So make sure you go to Lance's channel. Where is this thing? At the Outcast Creative, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Outcast Creatives. Thanks for stopping by, Lance. Also check out Mikey Lito Live. Mikey Lito Live. That's how I want to say it. Make sure you check out Mikey Lito Live on his channel as well. I believe I'm doing a PGS Treks tomorrow night at 10. I'm also going to be doing a live Outlander watch party at 8 p.m. Guys, right here on Positive Fandom. We're going to be watching 2 episodes. Also check out Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to Tom Jr. Jackson. He's some great reviews on his channel. Certainly do that as well.
I think what Michael Lito said in the chat, actually, there's some truth to that about does it really need to be gratuitous? Well, that is what happened to him. That is true. So but just because it's true doesn't mean you have to say it or you have to show it. So the question is why did they choose to take that event, which did not happen at that time? It happened after the Manhattan Project, and insert it into here. Now, I don't think that they were trying to be gratuitous for it's like a big gratuity. I think that they were trying to, and by your own admission, it affected you. They're trying to affect people because of the subject matter. And there's a part of me that thinks there's something that's not right about that. They're putting it in there because they know it's going to have that reaction. And yeah, it's a good. I can't say I disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I hear you guys. So there is that. Oh, and thank you, Tom. It's a different person. It's John McGinty, who is from Scrubs. Thanks so much, Tom. I thought it was the same guy in that film. So thanks for clearing that up. I don't know why I thought it was him. I thought he played. Yeah, it's probably a different person. But
yeah. Also in the chat about they didn't show the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm glad they didn't, because some things don't need to be shown. It's we know what happened. We don't need to see it. If you want to see there's footage of it, for goodness sakes. If you want to see it, I think the depiction of the Trinity test site is effective in and of itself. Do we really need to show it again? No. There's a good movie for that, and that's called Enola Gay. That actually does show that. So I thought they did a good job with that. So I don't quite understand why people are saying that they need to show Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It kind of brings me back to what I was just talking about, the gratuitous part. Do people want it shown so that they can what they're putting the hammer, they're putting the mallet to the issue, like, oh, look what they did. I think that's almost like what they're doing. They want to show it so they can be like they're trying to get a reaction from people. We know what happened. We don't need to show it again. It's not about. It takes place during the war, but it's not about the war.
Right. And that is a good point. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. So
Macaulito says that you think that the Demon Core incident hijacked the movie, and the creators went to the justification of the incident in the aftermath of the Trinity test. Yeah, I think there's truth to that. I think that's absolutely what they did.
Exactly. So yeah, Tom. Look for a guy by the name of what's this guy's name? Yeah, John McGinley. Is that who you were talking about, Tom?
It's Grizzly, but an invasion of Japan would have been Grizzly too.
Yeah, well, you know something, we're not necessarily going to get into discussions about anything other than what the movie has shown us.
I understand. Look, I had this kind of discussion in college. I am not going to tell people how they should or shouldn't feel about any of this, but
yes.
there is a whole other level to this that we don't need to get into.
Yeah, Tom Jr. Jackson, McGinley, he's in this film as a doctor here in the film as well. He's in Scrubs, and he is in this film too.
Oh, great. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's John McGinley. And he's at the end. He's the doctor at the end who tells the nurse. That's why I thought you guys were especially saying it was like MASH, because I said, oh, look, it's the doctor from Scrubs who's always like riding the main character and telling him he messes up all the time.
This was an Avengers project.
Yeah, it was. But, as I said, we're not talking about what should or shouldn't have happened. I'm just, for at least from this point of view, I'm looking at, is this a good film? And did it portray or do what the filmmakers intended? It certainly got my attention, Darth Plato. I still can't forget that scene. It still freaks me out. I'm still freaked out about it. Yeah, I'm freaked out about it. It's freaked me out, guys. I don't know if you guys are freaked out too.
Yeah, a much better portrayal of that gory content is Chernobyl, because there's no way around it. The incident itself is necessarily horrible. In this movie, they kind of shoehorned it in, as Michaelito said. They shoehorned it in. Now, Chernobyl's a whole different thing. And I can understand if somebody doesn't want to watch it, especially the part about the rounding up all the pets. You know the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, you make a good point. And Michaelito, I agree. If you didn't already say this, Darth Plato, it did feel like it took over.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. You know something? If your film ever has to be known for anything and people remember it forever for this, that's not a bad thing. Right? You want people to remember your film. I couldn't forget this film because of it, because of that. I still can't forget it. And it's only 2 minutes. Maybe it was like 2 minutes. I don't know. I like that they had a little blue light effect. You remember, right, Darth Plato? Okay, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm going to just focus on I'm just going to focus on this. And I'd say I give this is an effective film. If it made me feel this way, it was an effective film. Was this what the intention was? I have no idea. But I am going to say that it was a scene I could never forget. And there are very few films that have done that to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any final words on the film, Darth Plato?
Well, like I said, I wanted to watch. I recommend this film because I thought it would be an interesting contrast with Oppenheimer, and I think it does. I think it does. I think it's interesting how it does contrast, and Oppenheimer is obviously the superior movie, but there's something about this movie that I do appreciate. The incident with Michael Merriman aside.
Yeah, I would say that the depiction of the time period seemed pretty accurate to me. And for a period piece, which it is, we're talking what is it, over 70 years, maybe longer. I don't know the exact amount of
Well,
time.
I think Oppenheimer was better for that because this movie, although like I said, I do have an '80s nostalgia thing. I agree. So because I look at it and go, I almost expect Hannibal Smith or Dirk Benedict to come walking out of the building and go stand next to Mad Dog Murdoch. That's what I was expecting to see almost. It looked like a set from the A-Team, or maybe a little bit of Matt. Like they showed the army ambulance going away. I almost heard the MASH theme in my head.
Well, this is if you're not hearing MASH, you're hearing the A-Team. If you're not hearing the A-Team, we're still on the scene that has John Cusack in it. It's very interesting. Certainly, it was that, and here they're talking about Mike Alito believes it was miscasting. I think that
I don't know about that. I think he's a good actor.
I think he was good too. I think it was the tone that they depicted him as in the film was not the tone that I would have chosen as a editor or as a cinematographer. So as an editor, I wouldn't have gone with that type of tone. However, that's okay.
I can't gainsay that.
I don't know. I don't know what if that was an actual more accurate depiction of what he was like. Who knows?
That's a Rob question.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. So it's interesting to see him depicted two other ways. And yeah, I see what you're saying about the Barkley thing, but maybe he was like Barkley. Maybe that's what Oppenheimer was like. So who knows? Who would, I have no idea. All I know is that sometimes when we see video of, the actual Robert Oppenheimer, he has this look on his face that's very compelling.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that, but he seems to have it time and time again. It's like the camera kind of loves him a little bit for this.
Yeah,
So,
notice also that in this movie, they didn't have the line that he had in Oppenheimer about, I am death, the destroyer of worlds. Now talk about melodrama. The thing is he really did say that apparently, but they didn't put it into this movie. And again, it might be because, as you were just commenting, they were going for a theme, and they didn't want that theme in there. But then again, what theme were they trying to achieve when they inserted the Merryman incident? It seems a little weird.
yeah, and as Mike Alito said, as I said, perhaps you even said this, it feels like it does kind of take precedence. It takes the front seat to everything, doesn't it? Which is fine. Certainly not complaining about it at all. Just as I said, I can't forget this film because that scene has such an effect over me, even to this day in 2023. Linwood Kent says, "Were there spies there? Did we see them in the film, in this particular film, Darth Plato? Do you think?"
That's another thing that they really kind of downplayed compared to Oppenheimer. That was a major recurring theme in Oppenheimer, was the whole communist spy thing and ties to communism. And now they did mention it in this movie with his ties to Gene Tatlock, so that was covered. But it was just that part of the movie, and then they didn't go back to it again. They never mentioned it again. But no, I don't know about spies, but there was definitely somebody in that in that bunker, the treated test site, that was sympathetic to Stalin, and he did pass off information. And that information did end up at the Kremlin, before it did the White House.
And thanks again, Linwood Kent, for being here. So appreciate you. Darth Plato, where can people find you?
You can find me right here on the It Show, Positive Fandom.
Yes, this is true. If you guys need to get in
Yeah.
contact with Darth Plato, you can find him here. You can also find him on the Burr Network as well. So feel free to reach out to him in either place. Guys, you can find me here on my channel, Positive Fandom, and you can find me on the Burr Network. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to Tom Jr. Jackson's YouTube channel. Tom Jr. Jackson, thank you for everything. We are all goof people. Thanks for being moderator, collaborator, and such a good friend as always. And to everybody in the chat, thank you all for being here, supporting Positive Fandom. This was a very interesting and certainly an unforgettable viewing. And guys, remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, always remember to please be kind. Take care, everybody.